Lieutenant Colonel Glenn Grant is with us tonight. Hello, Mr. Grant.
Hi, and this time I'm with you from Kiev.
You are in Kyiv just as well as me.
I am indeed this time. Yeah,
I
just
won't
come to
miss a chance. I won't miss
show
a chance.
show solidarity.
Well, dear Lieutenant Colonel, I want to meet you if you have a minute, say sometime
We
tomorrow.
can fix that.
Right, great.
We can fix that.
we can
I'm not
do
sure tomorrow, but I'll
Yeah.
talk to you afterwards.
Right. First question. You probably heard 267 drones. So Trump says Russians want peace, and then they sent 267 drones. I mean, do people in Europe, in America, see this, I don't know, to put it mildly, controversy of all of that, or let's put it straightforward, lies, Russian lies just reiterated by Donald Trump? People see that, or they believe that Russia still wants peace?
I think anybody who's right thinking knows full well by now that Putin is lying. I mean, most of my friends in UK that I talk to are flabbergasted about Donald Trump
Right.
and his lies and what he's doing at the moment. And of course, as you've seen with with all the things with Elon Musk, there's now a kickback of humor, which is just truly wonderful, showing him up for the idiot that he is.
Right.
But I mean, overall, the question about the number of drones, I think this has been going on for so long that nobody actually knows how many drones come on a daily basis, whether this is a large amount or a small amount, or how do you compare 267 drones with 6 missiles or whatever.
Right.
So I think that I think that there is a need now for the media in Ukraine to start trying to find ways of actually reshaping the arguments and reshaping the whole of the discussion about this, because just doing the numbers. I mean, we've been doing the numbers all the time.
Yeah.
The general
Sure.
staff does. We killed 1,000, we killed 600, we killed 800, and it's become meaningless.
Absolutely. How do we reshape it, Mr. Grant? How do we do it?
We have to reshape it somehow. That's a good question. I mean, I think that
I have a way.
somehow we've got to get out of the detail.
Right.
I think the detail has become a limiter. I mean, the detail of which village has been lost and which other village has been lost, and how many square kilometers we've lost, has sort of taken over the discussion, to the point that nobody knows which village is where.
Exactly. But the point is, well, I'm recently was talking during a Munich security conference to my colleagues from Time Mag, from Washington Post, from the New York Post, and so we were talking about Trump and all that happened, and how people have spoken and blah 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 and so on. But I said, how do we do that? And we came up to an idea that maybe we should be, as a Ukrainian media, should be addressing not Trump, but American nation, for example. Or maybe, I mean, because American nation will be there when Trump won't. So that much is clear.
No, he'll be here and gone. Right. No, I think that's a good point. I mean, the Good Morning America sort of discussion is probably needed, and that means some way of actually getting better into the American media. Maybe. I mean, I don't know whether some of the American media might actually be quite happy to have for example, a daily program talking about things.
But I mean, America now is in a state of major shock. That's what I can tell, and that's why people I know. I mean, utter shock. They don't know what to do. Well, let's wait and see what happens, because something is going to happen, that's for sure. But I've never seen so many pro-Ukrainian comments under almost every article about Ukrainian, not very pro-Ukrainian medias. I mean, and Trump did that by echoing Russian narratives, and people react. Americans react, as this time is already about them. It's their thing. They are scared and angry now. Would you agree to that?
I would. I mean, I think that America has always been the land of the free, and at the point where it ceases to be the land of the free, you can actually see now some of the governors kicking back extremely hard and using swear words, which is unheard of for people of that level in the media. But so there's a lot of there is a lot of anger. I mean, some of my friends who are writing to me, I mean, they're just writing, this is unbelievable. This is beyond anything that we've ever done. This is not American. This is not us. But you know, the trouble is Trump's in power, and he's got a team around him that are frankly very strange people. Very, very strange.
I mean, why is strange? I mean, talking to Elon Musk is just someone who had a chance to take humanity to Mars, but now he's all for money and power. So that's just another sad story. But the thing is with Trump that he's running American political machinery on executive orders, and you can't do that all the time. I mean, that's it's not designed that way.
Well, you can't, because a lot of those executive orders that he's signed have in fact got to be endorsed by Congress.
It's just bypassing Congress and Senate and everyone else. Just
absolutely. I mean, we've seen Congress is weak because they allowed people into jobs. FBI and intelligence people allowed them into senior jobs, people who are completely unsuitable for actually taking that role.
But what about military?
Congress is weak.
The Congress is weak, and their vulnerability is now obvious. But what about the military? I mean, the military, I don't know whether this is in United Kingdom how the things are done, but I'm sure that in more or less the same way in America, who would ever listen to Pete Hegseth's orders? I mean, generals, like the generals I know, Ben Hodges, I don't think they would.
No, well, they haven't got a choice, and the military always do as they're told, and because of the Constitution. I mean, we have had one or two ministers in Britain, I'm sorry, who are pretty awful as well. One or two defense ministers. Even when I was working in Ministry of Defence, we had one particular one, no names, who was clueless. So if we can do it in Britain, I think that I hate to use the word deep state because people always think of that as something bad, but there is also the benefits of, if you want to call it, the bureaucracy, is that the bureaucracy gets on with its work.
Right.
And in the main, whether one likes it or not, from outside, the majority of people who work in places like Pentagon, Ministry of Defence in UK, in France and Germany, the majority of the bureaucrats are pretty honest, hardworking people.
True.
And do their best.
True. That much
and
is
do
true.
Their best. Now, I wonder how many of the brightest and best are going to get the boot. And especially as Trump on Hegseth, seem intent on kicking out anybody who's coloured or women or might possibly be a bit homosexual in some way or another. And if they start doing that, they're going to lose some of the best brains. And that's not a clever thing to do.
That's already what is happening. I mean, we're just witnessing that. This is going on right now. But America will definitely answer, I'm sure of that, because this is something big is going on. I don't know what, it seems to me, there's only two questions for you. First of all, I will just put them the other way around. Do you believe that Donald Trump has any sort of plan inside his head?
Yeah, the plan given to him by Putin. I do.
Oh, right.
And I think that plan is the plan that he worked on during his first time in office that failed, but not for lack of trying. And at this time he's more intent on doing, smashing the West. I mean, come on, no human being in their right mind is going to start a major argument in America. It's going to start a major argument with Canada and Denmark. You just don't do that.
I mean, what kind of? I mean, it's not even an argument. It's just let's buy Greenland, let's annex Canada, and join Russia.
It's bullying, blatant bullying. It's bullying, and the trouble is with that bullying, it's bullying with a really nasty intent behind it as well. I mean, it's not. There's no sort of half smile in this bullying. It's nasty, serious bullying designed to actually to break up the relationships that have existed between the US,
and
NATO,
so on. All right.
EU.
Let's imagine that he's done that. You've already done that. So what's now? I mean, the third impeachment is looming on the horizon, isn't it not? I mean, am I right or not?
I think you have to. I mean, I think the Europeans are already starting to actually to realise that they've got to start doing things themselves. I mean, you've heard from the new German, as he will be, Chancellor, actually saying this. But of course, we've still got an awful lot of weak politicians in Europe, in senior places, and we've also still got the fifth column of Hungary and Slovakia, Bulgaria as well.
Well, I wouldn't say Hungary and Slovakia. I would say Fico and Orban, more or less. Because
okay, but the fact is that you know they run the governments of those countries, whether one likes it or not.
But I mean, again,
I know that. You know,
yeah. Sorry, pardon me for that. I'm just.
No, it's okay. I mean, I know that you know that there have been quite serious parades in both Hungary and Slovakia, saying that we don't wish to be seen like this, and we don't want, you know, you don't represent us.
You're reading my mind.
But right. You know, does that make any difference? I mean, we had that in Georgia, and Georgia is still Russian run. So you know, we've still got this problem. Hungary can stop the money from the EU going to Ukraine.
We can
so that means that within the EU, people have got to ignore them. Right. They've got to create something new.
Oh, we are amidst the war, so these are our enemies, Russia, I mean, and we probably would have to count that they will act as enemies. So we have to probably address nations. Maybe that's the way out. But I don't know how to do it, but that's a good idea to think about it later on. But the last question. I'm just craving to know, Mr. Grant, mineral deal. I mean, first of all, Trump calls Zelensky a dictator because a dictator just rejects the predatory previous initial deal that was not good for Ukraine whatsoever, and then puts Trump and his team in a position that they have nothing to show to their constituency. Now, more likely, the deal is going to be sealed. So, should Zelensky go for it or not?
Personally, I think, in my own view, he shouldn't sign unless there are cast iron NATO-backed guarantees from US, because otherwise he's giving away the national treasure that he shouldn't, that he's actually not entitled to, and that could come back and bite him later. I mean, okay, if the whole deal goes before Parliament and gets a 50% vote in Parliament or something, then that is a different thing. But just coming out of the president's administration, I don't think he should sign it, because I think it's wrong. I think it's fundamentally wrong that someone who's been raped and terrorized and had their children stolen should have to go on their knees and beg to another country, we give all our money. I mean, that is so un-American to ask that. That I just don't think we should play along with it, and that is where he should go to the American people and say, "This is not you. We don't want this." And okay, if he stops the arms and everything else, it may actually be a good thing. In that, first of all, it's going to put the boot firmly and squarely into Ukraine, that Ukraine has to actually to get its act together. It's got to get its act together in the military, and it's got to get its act together in the government departments, that are some of which are still failing badly. Secondly, it puts the boot into Europe. I don't think anybody in Europe is maybe one or two are rushing to say sign it. And if they are, then I'm sorry, but then they're as bad as, that's the weakness part. But you certainly, you're not going to get any pushback from UK, for example.
Right.
They will be very firmly that this is a sovereign issue. You should not be bullied into something that gives you nothing. I mean, what does it give us? I can't see that it actually gives anything of any value at the moment, except losing your national treasure. And look what that's done to, look what that's done in places like Nigeria, where the oil and everything has been just sucked out and the profit's gone elsewhere.
But you
A
oligarchs,
country can't stand on its feet in those conditions. So unless Trump produces cast iron guarantees, security guarantees to counterbalance what is on that deal, then I don't think Zelensky should sign it.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Grant. Again, it was an exquisite pleasure to hear your opinion, and I hope to meet you when you can. I'm going to text you.
Yeah, well, I've got your details. I'll write to you afterwards.
Thank you so very much, sir.
Good.
Goodbye.
No, thank you.
Goodbye.